seasoned public relations and marketing executive. He cut his teeth in Silicon Valley through the last 20 and 30 years, worked for such companies such as Apple, Novell, Creative Labs, Sybase, and IBM, and several startups through the time period. And now he is our industry engagement lead here within NGA. So we're excited to have him speak with us today about the industry engagement process and how you can engage with us and bring your solutions into NGA's front door. So with that, over to you, Rick.
Thank you very much, and thank you for the intro, David. It's a pleasure to be here to address you, and really enjoyed Phil's comments as well, and how he was emphasizing that he's on the lookout for differentiating capabilities and technology from industry, and so that's what we do. And so if you go to the first chart, I'd appreciate that. This gives a snapshot of fundamentally why we do what we do when it comes to engaging with industry. And early on in the process, when I was first asked to put my technology skill set to use to formalize an industry engagement program for NGA, I realized that there's this what I call a positive tension between our outreach to industry and industry's outreach to us. And I routinely got asked, well, why are we talking to industry when we know what we want and we can inform industry of that need and then wait for the response? And that's what I call the pull, because it's NGA outreaching to industry to pull a response. We do that in a number of different ways, most notably through RFIs, RFPs, the BAA, the big area agreement, OTAs, a number of different methods where we can get information out to industry seeking a specific response to help us solve a specific need. But that completely overlooked, not intentionally, but it completely overlooked what I call the line outside the front door. And that is industry who have solutions that they feel may be applicable to NGA that we should be aware of. And so that is industry pushing solutions onto the agency. And so early on, I realized we had to open up the front door, because in the past, we did it either selectively or we didn't even open it at all, sort of like closed for business, come back again. And so we opened that up and spent a lot of time. One of the differentiation points of our industry engagement efforts is because we take a personal approach. A number of our colleagues just, they handle things via email, and there's never really a discussion or a dialogue. It's just a yes or a no kind of thing. So we answer the front door, and then we listen to what you have to say. We also engage with industry through conferences and symposiums such as the Fed Supernova, through industry trade associations and referrals and that type of thing. And of course, our director is very, very popular with industry. So whenever he makes the rounds, he collects a lot of cards, and then those come our way. So anyway, understanding how we go about engaging with industry is really, really important to put things into context. In the middle of this chart, it shows the industry engagement team, but we also have other elements within the agency as well, like our small business program office, the accelerator program, and source commercial. So I don't know if you've heard about those or not. If you haven't and you're curious to learn more, you can see the email address, industryengagement@nga.mil. And so please jot that down if you have any interest in learning more about this, or you would like to engage with us in some formal way. Please outreach to us via that email address. So if you could move the chart, please. So it took a while for me to sort of unlock the process flow of industry engagement at NGA. It has evolved from something I would think of as in a back garage kind of effort to now being front mainstream and having a seat at the table, if you will. And so we talked, you can see that kind of a wonky looking cloud. It's kind of stretched out, so it must be at altitude. But we talked about the mission imperatives, the moonshot, tech focus areas. That's what Phil had talked about. That helps motivate us to be on the lookout for certain, emerging technologies and capabilities, or as Phil calls them, differentiating capabilities. So that's the pressure point that we deal with in our activities on a daily basis. But if you go to the left of this, you can see the line outside the front door. That's industry knocking on the front door and asking for us to listen to what they have to say. So one of the first things we do is we ask some fundamental questions. Who are you? What do you do? How will your solutions help move our mission forward? We have categories that we allow you to self-select in, which helps us understand where you feel your technology fits into our tech focus areas and our technology needs. And so we send that questionnaire out, and we wait for your response. And then once we get that response, then we evaluate it, and we evaluate it very carefully. And we also have, which is an innovation for the industry engagement process, is the Industry Engagement Coalition. And this is a group comprised of about 120 members of NGA from across the agency, representing all the major directorates and offices. And this coalition is chartered to help our discussion with industry, because as industry engagement advisors, we do not have the full and deep understanding for all of the technology needs across the agency. I don't think any one person could, although Phil's pretty close. And but anyway, so we rely on the Industry Engagement Coalition to help provide perspective, help understand how things would potentially fit and that kind of thing. And so we solicit feedback from the coalition on every questionnaire that we get. So it's a very, very fair process. And we also allow cross-agency view of the solutions or the technology being considered. So then we all determine that if through that process, if it's going to be a fit or not for our mission. And if it is, then we go on to the next step, which is a compass meeting. And if it's not, then we off ramp. But we off ramp in a very interesting way. If we feel that that the solution that's being put forward is could be applicable to any of our counterparts in the IC or even beyond, we will forward the information, forward the questionnaire and that type of thing to our counterparts for their evaluation. And it may be that there's some applicability in their agencies, even though there may not be within NGA. So we feel that that's a bit of an engagement responsibility that we have. So if yes, then we go to a compass meeting, and a compass meeting is carefully named because it's a 360 view, and could go anywhere across and around the agency. So we kind of like look at that as being finding some direction within the agency. And so a compass meeting is a 30-minute discussion demonstration of a company and its solution in front of a limited audience comprised of the industry engagement advisors, which includes David Grover, who is hosting this session, and several representatives from our analysis directorate, our source directorate, research directorate, and our CIO directorate. And we listen to the company's presentation, after which the 30 minutes is up. We then discuss what we saw and heard and make a decision from there if we want to continue the conversation or if we should just go ahead and off-ramp them. And once again, if it's an off-ramp, we look for opportunities beyond NGA. It's not just a hard no, but if there's a possibility of DIA or State Department or DHS or whatever, we have a contact list that we can forward information, including presentation charts to our counterparts. And so if there is determined through the compass process the potential for a mission fit, then we invite the company executives to a demo day, which is essentially a amped up compass meeting, whereby we invite hundreds of members of NGA to plug in and listen to what the company has to say. So this gives cross-agency, widespread agency opportunities to take a look at the company, its product, its technology, its solution, and also in a demo. And I have to say, for all of the negatives of COVID, um, teleworking has been a big plus for us because we can now outreach to more people than we were able to while we were still inside the building. And then it also enables the company to do live demos, whereas in the past we'd have to do static demos, which is never optimal, but nonetheless, it working in the virtual environment has certainly been very, very helpful. So we give each company, again, another 30 minutes with a much larger audience. And then we query the NGA audience to find out if there's interest in continuing the conversation, meaning now now there's a solution here that we're interested in. Let's start talking specifics. So then if whoever expresses interest in learning more, then we put that person in touch with the company representatives, and then they discuss all the technical details, which could then lead to some form of an agreement or not. But anyway, we leave that up to our counterparts within the agency. And then also, if there's something that's really specific that is probably not applicable to the agency at large, we will know who to go to. So we will do either a themed demo day or a narrowly focused demo day for a limited audience, because we feel that technology or that solution has specific potential within the agency. And then another innovation that makes this process successful is the industry engagement platform. This is a tool that is based on an open source technology called Suite CRM. That's SUITE, Suite CRM. And we have customized it and modified it for our use. But every engagement we have, we make entries into the engagement platform. We attach documents and keep that updated so that if anybody across the agency gets called by a business development person or whatever from a certain company, they could look that company up and find out, first of all, if we've engaged with them, and if so, to what degree, to what level, what information do we have. So that certainly streamlines the engagement process from that standpoint. And it also really works well with our front office. Once again, I mentioned that the director gets calls, emails, and business cards all the time. And instead of the front office staff calling me and saying, when was the last time we talked to this company, or what do we know about them? They've already been trained on how to utilize the engagement platform. So they'll just key it in and they can find all of the information that they ever wanted to know about those companies. So anyway, that's so I think the Industry Engagement Coalition and the engagement platform are two big innovators that really help make this process successful. And once again, industry engagement at nga.com if you have any questions or if you want to connect with us. So if you go to the next chart. This is just a snapshot of some of the work that we have done this year. We haven't tallied September yet, so that's why it's as of August. But I think our total number of engagements is up to about 220 now. You can see the questionnaires, the Compass meetings we've hosted. So this is not trivial at all. It's actually it's very sophisticated, but very well received internally. And I do believe that the agency appreciates us going through the effort of screening and talking to industry and to bring in some pretty impressive solutions to our knowledge. So anyway, yeah, you can see some of those. And then we also did one thing that's at the bottom of that chart. We hosted an large-scale, externally facing virtual event called the Strategy Summit that was held on March 2nd. And we had about 1,200 participants in that. And we spent about 2 hours talking about the Moonshot initiative and a number of different things. And then we delved into how to do business with NGA. And then that led to the Insights for Industry workshop, which was held August 10th. We had about 600 participants in that, and that really was small business focused and really gave tremendous insight into what we look for when we have conversations with industry, but what we also expect small businesses to be able to do when we engage with them. So anyway, we are going to be planning for more of those probably early next year. We've got a few smaller scale things between now and then. All right, next chart. Okay, thank you. So I have a question. When new applications are being introduced into an existing system, what is the expected timeline to get through? Um, uh, that's a very difficult question to answer because we don't really have influence on that. The security accreditation it's sort of like getting a security clearance. It could take a goodly long time, but I hear that process is faster now. But I really don't know the answer to that. But if we're going down that path, we have team members that can keep track of that to see how we're progressing with it. That's not the best of answers, but that's the only one I have. All right, so this chart now shows a little bit about the engagement platform. So we can search in a number of different ways, and it comes up. It's a very easy search system. It comes up with the results of that, and then you can click on the results, and then it'll show notes and documents such as the questionnaire, the presentation charts, that type of thing, and then also just gets archived. And so again, it's a very, very powerful tool, and we use it to great effect at all levels. All right, next chart. Thank you. And so overall, the engagement process started out, like I had mentioned, it's sort of like a hobby in the garage kind of thing. Like, hey, could you just take care of this? To something that's very sophisticated. We're looked upon as a best practice across the IC with our counterparts. They all engage in some fashion, as you probably know. But when we present this discussion to them, they quickly realize that we have a very sophisticated process that works quite well, and I've gotten nothing but good feedback from industry as well, thanking us for that. And even if it's a gentle off ramp, they appreciate that feedback, and we'll give feedback on that. So anyway, the whole idea now is that we synchronize and standardize our efforts. So there's a number of different people within the agency that engage with industry in some fashion, and a number of BD folks that go in the side door or go in the back door or down the chimney or whatever, and trying to avoid the front door because you'll have my smiling face there. But anyway, we just want to make sure that, we do make sure that across the agency, those that do engage have the chance to do so in a synchronized fashion, and that they also make sure that they enter their engagements in the engagement platform so we can keep track of it and we don't duplicate efforts, and we know what we're saying to our industry partners. As I mentioned, we had the summit and the workshop, and then we're going to have some tech challenge days later this year that will be very specific, but we're looking to industry to help solve some of these issues, because we realize that it's probably better to go externally than try and do something ourselves. And again, we're looking for those differentiating capabilities and technologies that Phil had mentioned. And then we have Ask Me Anything sessions too. I wish we had more time so you could ask me anything, but you still can, because you can connect via the email address that I sent. We also want to make sure we align all of our engagements to make sure that if we see something of interest, that it gets to the right place within the industry, within the agency, and we like to make sure that if it's something that the agency wants to bring on board, we can help with those agreements and that type of thing. But again, that's kind of where our role as industry engagement advisors ends, and we'll leave that up to others to help move it forward. And then doing this type of thing too, we want to share our processes with external elements to let you know how we are, that we are open for business. We will answer the front door. We will engage with you. We will see where that goes. And we do this within the intelligence community, but also through DoD and Department of Homeland Security, State Department. We're pretty well plugged in where we need to be with that. And so with that, the next chart is more contact info. Again, I'm Rick Myllenbeck. I'm joined by my colleague, Christy Rapetti, who is also our industry engagement advisor. She is a power user of the engagement platform and does a lot of the logistics. And she's the one that is super responsive and really kind of facilitates the engagements and helps coordinate our our Compass meetings and our demo days. And then Dale Rainey, I don't know if you know Dale. Dale's a great guy. He is the director of our small business program office. And so you can reach him via that contact info. And but also you have industry engagement at nga.mil. So with that, I will conclude my formal remarks and stand by for other questions or comments. And I really, really appreciate the opportunity to be here. Thank you so much.
We still have some time. So I sit with Rick on the engagement team. You might have seen our name there on the bottom. So Rick, when a company is reaching out for that first engagement, you talked about the industry questionnaire that we fill out. What would be your best advice when they fill out that questionnaire as to how to fill it out or what needs to be included on it?
Great question. Softball. Thanks, David. Actually great question. So having a public relations and marketing background, I come from the journalism and the English and the writing background. And so I've seen some D- and F papers that I've had to send back for a do-over. And I say that tongue in cheek, but there have been some that were just not helpful. And so I give them one more shot, like, please be more specific. So to make it, realize that your responses to the questionnaire is almost like a resume. It's going to be reviewed by 120 people across the agency, and they're going to be making a decision on a yes or no if we're going to go forward or not. And so if you want to just say, hey, we're a great company and we believe in defending America, that's great, but that's we'd really like to know how you feel your solution can help move our mission forward. And so, but then again, I've had people turn in 8 pages of diatribe as well, and that's not helpful either. So we really want to keep it to one, maybe a page and a half. So be to the point, be specific, be succinct. Make sure that you answer all the questions. One that companies try and skip is who do you feel are your closest competitors? And I know you don't want to answer that, but we probably already know because we may even have a solution that we're already using. So it really does help us understand the industry dynamic. And so those are questions not to necessarily dig. It's to help us make a decision to conversation.
With that, I'm going to throw in my 2 cents on that one as well. So Rick, absolutely right. One of the things that we like to say is keep it concise. So when you're talking to us, we've probably done a lot of research on your particular solution, or at least your area, if we haven't heard of you. And so having that concise bullet of what your solution actually is on that questionnaire helps us tremendously. So I know a lot of times you want to put out there, we do machine learning to solve the world's problems. And that's great, and you may do that, but give us a little bit more specific if you can. That helps us as we evaluate what's going on in that questionnaire. What are some of your favorite current themes in the geospatial realm is the next question.
So we have a somewhat narrow view when it comes to things geospatial. But there's a lot of other things beyond that that help us keep that narrow focus. So a lot of AI ML, we get a lot of that. We're, as Phil mentioned, we have the digital and data innovation team, but we still are at the front door, and we will pass things on to them. Also, anything change management oriented is good. 3D visualization is good, even though we have sophisticated solutions in place. There's always new and emerging things that are coming through. But we're also huge echo. We are also in discovery, and so I know that Phil mentioned that too. He wants us to continue to be open for discovery. So if you have a solution that you think we're not even aware of, we love that. I want to know what's going on in industry. I want to know what's evolving, emerging, and love to be able to talk about that, because it could change the way we do business. It could change some of our processes. It could add value that in ways we don't even know yet. So great question, and I hope anything geospatial always gets our attention, but there's a lot of stuff beyond.
So one last question is going to be just the softball of the previous one. We talked about the questionnaire. The follow-up to the questionnaire is either the Compass meeting or the demo day, where we give companies 20 to 30, or we give them 30 minutes to discuss with us what exactly their solution is. So again, we've seen some great versions of that. We've seen some less great versions of that. So what are your key, what's your key advice for companies when they get that Compass Day and that demo day as to how to move forward, and what makes a good Compass meeting?
Again, great question. So it's sort of like if your responses to the questionnaire is your resume, then the Compass meeting is kind of like the interview. And so we want you to be really targeted in how you feel your solutions can help NGA. And so even if it's technical, we've had some pretty cerebral scientists, and it just comes across as I mean, there's so many companies that are very excited about what they do. You can barely keep them in their chair. And so if you're on the opposite spectrum, we would like you step those things up. But highlight why you think your solution is special, how you think it can move our mission forward, and then we also like use cases, even if they're hypothetical. So tell us how your solution is being put to use, or could be put to use, to do something similar to what NGA is doing. So the use cases are really good. And then if you have more background on our tech focus areas and that type of thing, and stitch those in, that's also a big plus.
Great. Well, thank you very much, Rick. We appreciate all the insight that you gave us, and talk about the process. So that was wonderful. And I hope you as the audience have learned something, and you now have that contact to get you through the front door of NGA and understand our process and engage with us, and what are some of the keys. Right now, I'm going to do a little flip on you. So I mentioned, and on the schedule, we had Dale Rainey, our small business lead, is coming up next.